Is VeChain about to explode by 55%? Let's get into it. So Chris, we're going to be taking a cheeky look at the VeChain chart. We're going to be taking a look at it on the daily, the 4-hourly chart, and then the 1-hourly view. And we're going to be taking a look at the Fibonacci retracement tool. We'll have a look at some of those extension levels. We'll have a look, Chris, at how well the VeChain has been doing recently with a 23-day move to the upside. We'll have a look at their correction. We'll also have a look where the support lines and resistances currently are showing us. Well, Chris, everything will come down to whether or not the volumes will support the moves on the RSI, and some textbook moves have been made most recently with VeChain and the VET token. Of course, this video, guys, is going to be all around VET rather than the V4 token. That being said, the V4 token has performed incredibly well recently. It's had some pretty significant and juicy returns, Chris. And it's fantastic to have actually a pretty good holding of the V4 token as well. But if you want to know more about V4, let us know in the comments down below, and we'll try to get a video out around that as well. So guys, if you do find this video useful and informative, hit that like button. We both really do appreciate it. And of course, if you want to know about hidden gems, learn more about new cryptocurrencies and make money, then why not go ahead and subscribe? By subscribing, you're going to be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. It's free, you'll be kept up to date, so why not? Chris, anything else you would like to add before we jump over to the desktop?
I thought you were going to say it's Chris's biggest bag. He loves it. He's a baller. No, Nick, let's just get straight into it.
Let's do it. This is Chris's biggest bag, and he's going to probably sit back and enjoy this technical analysis.
Lovely.
So here we are, guys. This is the VET token to the USDT on the 1-day chart. All of our data is coming from the Binance exchange. So if you wanted to replicate this, you should have no problem doing so just by doing those things. Right, we have got a Fibonacci retracement on here, and we are taking a look here at the low level of the 28th of February through to the most recent high that we've had up here at 22nd of March. Okay, that actually represents a 23-day move to the upside with very little consolidation in between candles. So within that 23 days, Chris, I think we actually gained quite a significant percentage. We gained, let me just check, put that on here, 177%. So pretty juicy returns have been made there. And I think overall, Chris, from March, the low point in March through to today, or the 22nd of March, I think it was like over 4,000% gains have been made. So juicy returns for that token, but even juicy returns for V4 as well. So what's actually going on this chart? Within this Fibonacci, we can see that I had that high level, and we came back down and tested the 702 area of this Fibonacci chart. That's a key area, and we bounced off from there a couple of times. However, Bitcoin's correction has forced the hand a little bit and pulled this candle down to the 618. Actually, it was just a little bit north of that 618. Hasn't quite closed the gap, but I think that's what was intended here. And for the green candle that followed, I think that was actually the correction here for VeChain. Now, what we're going to do is just take a look at that volume, and we can see how the volume over time is actually a decreasing model. So the macro view for the volumes is not exactly a positive move. With that being said, depending on your outlook on charts, I much prefer a decreasing volume when we're in the middle of a correction. That's actually a pretty good sign. So ultimately, guys, the volumes are actually in a pretty good spot considering we were coming down. The overbought status has dwindled down to, towards 60 here. And today we've actually had a bit of a pump up to 66% on this RSI. So we're fast approaching the overbought status on this daily chart once again. So it's pretty good, Chris, on this daily chart. We're not overbought, but it looks like we're going to be very, very soon in that zone once again. And the volumes were low enough to protect the price whilst we were doing a bit of a correction. So if that volume decides to pick up now, we could go ahead and actually set a new all-time high. But let's go ahead and see if the 4-hourly chart is going to tell us much of the same news. And in a textbook move, guys, we can see that the RSI actually came down to a key area that we point out on our RSI. This RSI have actually added a blue line, and this blue line comes in at 37.41. this particular line is a key line for the VeChain and VET token. Everything seems to come down to this point on the RSI and actually bounces from it. It doesn't happen every time, but the majority of the time, this blue line is a key level when it comes to the relative strength index. So I've marked it out here, and if you wanted to add it onto your own charts, it's 37.41. So in that textbook move today, Chris, the RSI actually came down and hit this level. Actually, it was yesterday about midday. It hit this level, and we had that bounce up from there. So this 4-hourly RSI is actually settled at about 58 currently, and the price is still moving to the upside as we record. So things are looking pretty good. And we do have the 50 moving average, which is the red line just coming across here, which was acting as a bit of support over here, bit of resistance here, and it looks like we're actually going to be flipping it into a bit of support now. So the 50 moving average is working pretty well, and so is this one here. This is the 100 moving average working as support as well. So we've got a couple of good areas of support within those moving averages, as well as the 786 area of this Fibonacci retracement zone. So that comes in at 8.5, and we want to back test on this at some point and actually turn this into a good support zone. So we're going to have to watch that one a little bit closely. And again, those volumes are really decreasing quite sharply, and we need to see these things start to pick up if we're trying to push that price higher. For right now, I'm a little bit concerned that these 4-hourly volumes are actually decreasing rather than increasing. So we'll have to watch that, otherwise this potential move will fizzle out pretty soon. So if we pull this into that 1-hourly chart, Chris, we can already see the textbook move from our blue line down here, the 37.41, all the way up to almost being overbought at this point. We can see the volumes are not impressive at all. So it's only a matter of time before this thing starts to reverse down on us and come back down to that area of 37.41. So this RSI is potentially running out of steam very, very quickly, probably within the next couple of hours. So by the time you're watching this video, guys, this move probably would have already happened, and we would have seen a bit of a correction. But I'm predicting that that correction is probably going to come back down and back test on the 786 area. That's the 8.5 cent zone, and turn that into support. That's what we're looking here. We're looking for here on this chart. If we can get that, we should have corrected the RSI low enough and get a good bounce from there. So the really key thing to watch out for here is to make sure that we do not drop below that 8.5 cent. Okay. Otherwise, Chris, the RSI on this chart will have to get corrected back down. The volumes will have to stabilize in order to protect the price, and we'll have to make sure we hit that correct area of 8.5 on a bit of a back test. Let's pull this back into the daily view, sorry guys, and talk a little bit about what we're expecting here. So ultimately, I'm thinking that we need to have a short-term correction, probably down to that 8.5 cent zone. That's the 786 Fibonacci area, with a test there that could correct the RSI to enough that will actually then allow us to set a new all-time high thereafter. The whole thing probably take about maybe 4 days or so, Chris, to see this thing play from start to finish. We'll have to see if that works out. Time is usually the hardest thing to gauge. What we're looking for, though, is ultimately a 55% move to the upside, and that will actually come in and represented at 13.8 cent. That's the first price target as indicated within our 1.618 Fibonacci extension level. This is a pretty textbook move. Once you break the all-time high, that's the first thing that you're going to be looking for. So we're going to be taking that move, which represents about 55% from the current position, and that is the 13.8 cent. Now, Chris, that's a pretty sweet position to be in, specifically for a holder of your size, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It is your biggest bag, so he gets excited about these things. Now, obviously, we're not expecting to stop there either. Once we get that 55% move handled, we'll obviously have a bit of a correction, no doubt. And then we'll be going ahead and looking for 20 cent thereafter. So there's some fantastic opportunities still here on the cards for VeChain and the VET token. Chris, what are your kind of price predictions end of year for VET?
Yeah, like we've talked about the dollar. I think that's going to be really challenging to do, but it's not impossible. And I know what people always come back with, think how much money that is, and we're talking about multi-trillion-dollar market cap here for the crypto space. So I don't think we're anywhere near where we're likely to end up within this bull cycle. You consider the amount of printing of money that's happened recently. For me, we're not even really started yet. It the feel of it for me is there's just so much more room to grow. That's kind of my view on it. But I think 25 to 50 cent is ultra realistic. But I'd like to see the dollar or somewhere close. And I think if you combine it with V4, I think that's still potentially likely to happen. But there's lots of things that could happen that could stop that, right?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, a lot of people in this space are predicting $1 or maybe even $2 for the VET token. I'm kind of being more reserved. I want to see 50 cent get hit. If we can hit 50 cent, I'll then be able to actually take a look at the data and then, be realistic about it. Are we likely to see this thing climb higher at this point? And what does that actually represent in terms of the Fibonacci extension levels? How high can the VET token go? But until we get into, those higher numbers, double digits at least. So personally, I want to see the 50 cent come in, see the 50 cent here, and then, assess the situation. Are we likely to go up to $1? And, even further beyond that. I think 50 cent is pretty much easily accomplished during a bull run. So I think 50 cent is going to happen. And I think ultimately $1 is also on the cards, but I do want to kind of be reserved and, see what the data represents closer to the time. So really going for 50 cent at this point, Chris, and hopefully the data will then support $1 from there. Hopefully, guys, you found this video useful. If you did, do go ahead and hit that like button. We really do appreciate it. And of course, if you want to know, more about those hidden gems that we talk about here on the channel or new cryptocurrencies and how to make money, then, do go ahead and subscribe to the channel. By subscribing, you're going to be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. It's free. You'll be kept up to date and informed. So why not? And with that said, guys, we hope everyone has a fantastic day and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Take care.